Thank you so much, everybody. I'm so happy to meet teachers from Colombia and all other teachers who are joining from different countries. We're really happy to be sharing these different ideas with you today. So we'll get started, all right? So basically, today we're going to talk about how we're going to be using storytelling to boost our students' engagement in the classroom, all right? So what we'll cover today is what is storytelling, what is the relation between storytelling and language acquisition. We're going to discuss students' learning styles. We're going to go over some captivating stories that include audio and illustrations. We're also going to talk about different CI activities, comprehensible input activities that cover all modes of communication. We're also going to discuss the application of some authentic materials, such as infographics, videos, cross projects, and other ways to develop STEAM and mindfulness activities. We're also going to discuss a little bit about assessments and the focus on individual and integrated skills. And finally, we're going to show you a little bit about our platform and how you can customize and do some magic tricks there. All right. So I'm going to start with, oh my goodness, forbid my internet is a little bit slow. So I'm going to show you here a combination of these, what we propose here as an eclectic combination of different strategies that we're going to be using to develop the ultimate goal, that is language acquisition. So what are we going to try to do here? If by implementing these comprehensible input-based activities or strategies, we would like to develop students acquisition, which is represented by this plant, and by nurturing that, represented by the water and all the strategies. The idea is for us to help students develop this growth in their abilities. So we have proposed to show you guys a different story-based approach that combines also with acquisition-driven instruction, TPRS, that stands for teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling, CBL, content-based learning, STEAM learning, mindfulness, PQA, that is also another way to say personalized question answers, PBL, project-based learning, and CCLT, comprehension-based communicative language teaching. So we're going to combine basic approaches to language acquisition, and we're going to show you a couple of different activities that you can do when you integrate those and you base your curriculum with these CI strategies. So what are the advantages of storytelling in comparison to language acquisition? Basically, when we tell stories, it helps to effectively get and hold students' attention because we portray certain types of events that somewhat are very stuck in students' mind, and they are very memorable events. If you think about it, anytime when you wake up, you listen to the radio, you go anywhere, somehow you listen or you hear a story, right? So what that means is storytelling is part of our daily life. It's actually the oldest form of human communication. And if you think about it also, this is how basically language communication started, through oral storytelling. And this is how also we can use it as a really powerful tool because it's so natural to all of us to tell stories. And additionally, in relation to language acquisition and language proficiency, it also increases students' retention of information as they relate to different aspects, characters of different types of stories. It additionally fosters imagination, language interaction, and it provides opportunities for contextualized use of language usage. So that is basically what we would like to present as a tenant. And then now we propose to discover your students' learning styles. So first of all, let's talk about these strategies first, and then the different learning styles that our students have. I'm going to enumerate 4 for this presentation. And the first one being that students learn by reading and writing. And this is called the read and write learning style. The second one is the auditory one, in which students learn by hearing. And it's represented graphically right here. The third one is the visual learning style, in which students learn by seeing. The fourth one is the kinesthetic learning, by which students learn by doing. And we're going to look at different types of examples on this slide. So basically, if there are different ways to use storytelling, the first, our approach to this would be first to work with these CI strategies to establish the foundation for the different vocabulary items that you're going to be discussing during that story. Also different strategies to help our students understand the vocabulary beforehand, before jumping into the story itself. So here we have, for example, the use of visuals. In this case, we have the word slowly represented by a snail, and we have the sentence, the snail moves slowly, right? We can also use it, we can also use TPR, by miming or by showing something slowly. Even with our tone of voice, we can say slow while you say the word, and your students can get what it means. Another strategy that we propose here too is what we call PQA. It's personalized question and answers. So for example, in this case, the question is, are you often early or late when you have an appointment? And students have to reply whether it's yes or no. So that sets the tone for the story, okay? Of course, this is just one example, but there are many different words that you can think ahead of time that your students might find, new for them. And so those are the words that you might want to present either by using visuals, TPR, or PQAs. All right. So these are what we have on the pre-reading activities stage. Now we're going to jump into the story. And for this, I will need a volunteer to read the story. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to read the story?
Come on, guys, don't be shy. We don't want everybody to be always to say people on.
When you want students to participate. Karma, good karma. I see Manuel. Manuel, are you going to be doing us the honor to listen to your beautiful voice?
I can do it. We know our teachers are kind of shy.
All right.
At this time, everybody's just getting home after a long day of work. And let's see. Right. I have my glasses. Okay. So it says, Mr. Tortoise has a dinner date. It is 1 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise has a dinner date. The dinner date is with an old friend. It is in a restaurant in town at 6 p.m. It is early, but Mr. Tortoise wants,
I'm sorry. There you go.
Wants to be at the restaurant at 6 p.m. and he's very slow. He is getting ready. Mr. Tortoise walks slowly to the bathroom. Then he walks slowly to the bathroom. He chooses his clothes carefully. It is 1 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise's friend has a dinner date with Mr. Tortoise in a restaurant. The dinner date is at 6 p.m. It is not far. It is also early, and Mr. Tortoise's friend is very quick. He walks quick to the bathroom, then he walks quickly to the bathroom. He likes sleeping. He goes to sleep in his bed. It is 4 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise walks slowly in the street. He walks slowly to the restaurant. It is 4 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise's friend sleeps in his bed. It is 6 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise walks slowly in the street. He is late. This is not good. Mr. Tortoise takes a bus. The bus goes quickly. It is 6 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise's friend is not at the restaurant. He sleeps in bed. It is 7 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise is at the restaurant. It is not 6 p.m. He is late. His friend is also late and not at the restaurant. Very late, but it is okay. Mr. Tortoise and his friend often eat at the restaurant. It is 7 p.m. and Mr. Tortoise's friend sleeps in bed. What happens next?
Yes, thank you so much for reading that. So Now I'm going to appeal to your background knowledge. What do you think happens and who do you think gets there first? And you can comment on the chat. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there is an intertextuality with a very, very traditional story that we probably heard before. And I would like to know your input. So who do you think gets there first? What do you think happens? And any other comments in relation to the story that you noticed? Good job, Anna. Mr. Tortoise guessed first. Yes. And why do you think so? Even though he's slow. What happens? Yeah, even though he slows, he never stopped. Exactly. Okay. And for example, I'm not going to read the rest of the story because I would like for you to complete it. And whether he goes to the restaurant, he continues walking, whether he takes the bus, whether he takes a taxi, and what time Mr. Harris, arrives, and all that type of information, okay, that you can, discuss with your students and build your new version or cut the story in half and see what else they can come up with. Okay, so this is just using background knowledge. All of our students, or most of us, have read about that story, either in Spanish or in English or, in any other way. So this is one strategy to appeal to background knowledge and see what we can come up with. Okay, now question, have you ever been to a restaurant, meeting a friend, and your friend saying, "I'm coming," and it's been an hour late and your friend doesn't show up? Me too. I hate it. I'm coming. And it's like, are you here? They are just like Mr. Hare, getting maybe waking up, getting ready. Yes, latecomers. So we can relate either, by, using our background knowledge or by relating to the actual experience of having a friend who normally shows up very late. Okay. So this is one strategy. Another strategy that we're going to use and we would like to, come up and show you as a tip, is also inferential questions. So to get your students thinking, for example, whether Mr. Toto is careful about his decisions, for example, whether Mr. Hare loves to be on time, and you can create your own questions. So students don't really have to read, but they have to read between the lines based on the attitudes, the behavior of the characters. And so this is another way to approach the story, okay? Our second strategy focuses on macro level sequences. So here, what we propose is for students to capture the main sequences within the story so they can organize them chronologically. And as you saw, the vocabulary that we used is very simple. However, we got the message across. We practice the time, we practice routines. We did a lot of different things within the story. On the micro level structures, based on vocabulary and specific grammar structures. We also can focus on vocabulary, for example, when we talk about who did that or what time, and we're focusing at, and we can get students to say at using the preposition, the correct preposition. All right, so these are some of those strategies. Of course, I'm sure you can come up with more, but a different way to approach a story. Okay, let me show you more strategies that you can use when you do that. Okay, internet. Please work. There you go. No, what is this? Uh-oh. You know what happened? Wait. Wait a second. I'm sorry about that. Would it be okay if you guys share the screen? Because I am having a hard time. Okay, wait. Let's see if we can fix it. Okay, okay. Thank you, technology. All right. Maybe I'm going to stop my video. Maybe that will help. Okay. Is it better? Can you hear me better?
It's good.
Okay.
It's good.
All right. So another type of activity that we propose is normally instead of normally we just write the questions, the personal questions to the students, is basically simulating an interview. Okay. So basically what we propose here is provide a listening recording. You can record the audio with your questions and having students answering to those questions as a way to simulate a conversation. In this kind of activity, we are tapping into listening and speaking skills integrated. Another, let's say, twist to playing normal charades. Instead of playing normal charades, like focusing on a specific word, the idea is to play charades by focusing on the whole sequence. So we can build up from the sequential activity where you had to organize the different parts of the story. In this case, we're going to tap into the kinesthetic style. So students have to mime the whole sequence. So they have to mime Mr. Tortoise walking slowly to the bathroom. So you can build up all these different sections and have them represent the whole sequence. So they have to guess and they have to build a sentence to answer to the charades. So that's another way to do it. You know, I did it with my students. It works and it's a lot of fun because they have 4, 6, 7 words and they have to put them together correctly. So that is another way of using charades with a twist, I would say. All right. Another activity that I really like to point out is how you can also, instead of making or creating a regular matching activity, for example, by using different types of visuals. Well, this is a different one, but if you want to create or have your students provide a visual and then recording the description of 2 or 3 different visuals or pictures, your students can first listen to the description and find the one that matches the specific picture that they heard, So this is another integrated way because it's not just like regular words and picture matching. It's like listening, understanding, and then being able to match to the correct picture. Okay, so that's why we're proposing here to integrate this idea of comprehension in a wider variety. Okay, another thing that we like to do, which is part of storytelling, is also setting the story and sending our characters to specific country. So let's say that Mr. Tortoise lived in Trinidad and Tobago. So we're going to discover all these specifics in relation to Trinidad and Tobago. And we're gonna, look at the map. We're gonna look at the different fun facts and learn and explore about Trinidad and Tobago. And the great thing about it is, before I move too quickly, is students are exposed. Have you guys ever heard the Trinidad, the Trinis accent? I was like surprised. I'm going to show you here. Well, we won't be able to listen to it right away, but right here, this lady, she's making chow, which is a typical Trini dessert, no, snack, sorry, not dessert. And wow, her accent is, wow, I was surprised, especially because I thought that Trinidad and Tobago was a country in which Spanish was the official language. I didn't know it was English. So I was surprised. And because we're talking about transportation, because Mr. Tortoise takes the bus to get to the restaurant on time, we also have different authentic materials that focus on like different transportations and ways to do it. And these are all authentic materials that our students will have the opportunity to practice and be exposed to, because they will have to listen to those in real life scenarios. And this is the fun part. This is my favorite part. Based on the situation too, we are also proposing a story-based project. So because Mr. Tortoise and Mr. Hare had to go a different direction, what we propose here is for students to discover how to measure and how to calculate speed. So students will have to build a ramp with any materials that they can find. The ramp has to be 3 meters long or whatever they decide. Then students have to calculate the trajectory that a brown ball that represents the hare and a green ball that represents tortoise. They have to make sure that they measure which ball gets there first and how long it takes for them to get there. And so they will be able to calculate speed. It's so much fun. This is my fun part. With this type of activity that is also, inspired by a story, we're going to develop the visual learning style, which is based on observation, but also the kinesthetic, because by measuring speed, not only will they incorporate content-based learning, which is knowledge about physics, but at the same time, they will experience what it is, to measure that. They can also measure their own speed, let's say from the entrance of the classroom to the very last door or whatever distance they want to measure, they can run. And it is a really good way to get your students off of their, chairs, phones, or any type of activity that, may not be so much fun for a little bit, So this is another way to explore the story from a different perspective. Assessment. How are we going to assess our students' let's say, learning outcomes? Well, there are different ways, but the first one that we propose is the traditional assessment. That is basically grammar assessment, because we are going to be working using those specific language structures there, in target vocabulary structures there too. And so we have both of these. And it also includes a free write. And the free write could also be something like going or meeting a person at a restaurant, and what would you like to have this person an order, how would that order look like if it is just beginners? Okay. And you always, for free writes, we always like to give 3 different types of options based on the different types of expressions and topics that were discussed during the unit. But that's basically traditional assessment. Now I'm going to jump into what is called integrated performance assessment. What we have here is different modes of communication. So there is this new trend, let's say, at least in the US. I'm not sure if it is the same in Colombia. In Argentina, it's not still a trend. But what integrated performance assessment does is basically it's a contextualized task that has 3 components. The three modes of communication that we tap into basically is presentational. But first of all, students have a context. So for example, right here, the goal is to prepare students to be in real life scenarios. So the context here is that this girl has her friend's birthday and she has to make a cake for her friend. So then she has to watch a video in which they teach how to make the recipe. And then she will answer questions in relation to the recipe. And then she will write in the interpersonal writing, she will write the ingredients that she needs for the recipe. And then in the, interpersonal, they will be able to exchange information. So it's not like we traditionally assess our students separately, like listening, speaking, reading, and writing, but it is a comprehensive test that includes one context and three different tasks connected with each other in relation to the context. And the idea is for students to interact with the information or with the different tasks that they have to do. It's not isolated tasks, they're all integrated. And some of them are similar if you are doing TOEFL preparation tests. Some of them are, in a way similar to those. But the idea is that different forms or different skills of communication and interaction are assessed. So this is another approach to assessment that we can also discuss with you, and wanted to bring it up to you. And what is the magic of this great platform that we have right now with our Storyscape is that you can make the content yours. In which way? So if you would like, for example, your students would like to have a different ending for your story, you can edit the content. Any of the pages that you have within our platform are fully customizable and fully editable, meaning that in this case, I was adding pictures to the story. You can add your own story. You can delete something that you might not like. You might want to add videos or more visuals to any of the pages within the curriculum. So basically, you can make it yours. And also, you also have the ability, for example, if you have students who finish your classes early or fast learners or students who need extra practice, you can also personalize their homework, because you can assign activities to specific students within your class, not the whole class. So that allows you more personalization. Also, you can adapt any of these materials to your students' age, your students' needs, and your class context, So that's basically, what we are trying to have you try and see and see what it looks like to have a story-based curriculum for you to be able to teach. And I also wanted to show you what happens with our brains when we use TPRS, teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling, which is what we did. And it's a combination of different approaches. We have first all the different areas of our brain. What happens when we make those visual connections, when we read and when we observe visuals, we activate, we activate the visual processing area at the back of our brain. When we do the charades or we do the class-based or story-based projects, we also activate our motor skills, the novelty, the back part of the brain that is responsible for all those kinesthetic connections. And we can also make or bring those stories to life by representing the stories, which would be really fun. By using language comprehension and repeating, for example, the story, the structure, different aspects, we are activating Wernicke's area. When we have to retell the story, which is also part of some of the strategies that we propose, we are going to activate the Broca's area. And what happens when we have to retell or write captions or take pictures of the captions of the story from our perspective, from how we look at it or from how we imagine it? We activate our creativity and we activate the frontal cortex of our brain. And finally, when we establish those emotional and personalized connections by doing that with our PQAs, we lower the affective filter and our students can learn in a stress-free environment. So the premotor area of our brain activates, and that's basically the idea, for us to explore different ways to activate our students' brain, because that will help us and them to learn their own learning style and perceive the same, let's say, story, but from different ways and from different types of perspectives. So exactly. It's so important to learn how our students' brain learn and how we learn too, because we can relate to students and how we approach and how we teach a class and how, you know, our students' realities and backgrounds and experiences are so different from class to class, from group to group, you know. So why we propose and why we think that you should incorporate a story-based curriculum to increase your class engagement. Well, we have a collection of 5 stories per unit. And every title includes 6 units. You have plenty of activities that are already made for you, including the class projects, all the infographics, the different sessions that you will see there with authentic materials. The variety of story-based activities and the fact that they are integrated and tap into different levels, let's say, of language learning, are like very great. And you can, you know, tell different ways of telling stories and also different ways of checking, understanding, and building up on that. We also focus on developing communicative competence, because we want, our aim is for our students to be able to perform or to do that integrated performance assessment, to be able to communicate successfully in a real life scenario. So we build up on that. We have very clear goals as to what students should learn per activity, so we will make sure they are ready to do their integrated performance assessment. We also include a culture and connection sections that help students develop intercultural competence, which is also very important. We also have the assessment sections, as we discussed before. We have the projects that incorporate STEAM and mindfulness. Today, we explore the one that includes STEAM, but also it's important to tap into mindfulness. And we do have those types of projects that help students find that moment to relax and to work on different breathing activities so that the brain can get more oxygen. And then by doing that, then you can continue with your class and your students will be, you know, more relaxed. The class dynamics will change, and adding those strategies really make a big difference. So that's what we would really like for you guys to experience today. And I'm here now to answer any questions, which I see there is one right here.
Yes, we already have one from Mariana Guerra. Mariana says, in TPRS, we also use writing exercises, or is writing in the background? And what could be a friendly way to implement it?
Well, I think this is a great, well, when we talk about an eclectic approach, eclecticism is made up of different approaches. And this is the great thing. It's like a melting pot. Imagine you're making a salad. Why? Because we can really try many different approaches. We can try reading, we can try having the students write, we can try having the students listen to the story, we can try the students come up with the ideas of how to end the story. I mean, writing could be a pre-reading activity Meaning, if you had a person who arrives late to a restaurant, what would you say to the person, or how would you text the person? You know what I mean? Beforehand. You could also use writing as a way, like, well, now write your own version of the story. Okay. Basically, the core of the approach is how you can transform storytelling, you know, and turn it into a way to build up on so many different layers, you know, because we applied one story. You saw how that turned into a bundle of so many different creative activities that when we read the stories, normally we're like, okay, just true or false, W questions, that's it, right? But you can see here what else you can do and how else you can take those stories to a different learning level and engage your students and have them experiment and try and collaborate. So that's what we would like to you know, show you today. And they are sharing our code. You can log in and click on the link that I think Marcela Adriana shared. This link will give you free access to our Storyscape. You can try, you can assign classes to your students, you can enter, you can explore the materials, but also you have free students accounts. What does it mean? It means that you have the possibility to do the same that I did, but add students to your classes and send those types of assignments to your students and have your students log in. And there is another thing about our Storyscape and Voces Digital in general that I know makes us unique, because we are there to support you all the way. Like, it's not like you just get your code, okay, thank you, bye. We are here. We provide personalized walkthroughs on Zoom. We help teachers figure out what they need, what they want, how they can use them. We can guide them through them. And we are all the time waiting for teachers to actually schedule walkthroughs on Zoom with us, so we can get the most out of the program, because sometimes it's like a hidden gem. Some teachers like, I need this. Oh, we have that. And we can show them exactly what it is. Some teachers say, well, I want to, I don't know, create a new activity. Okay, here you go. We can show you how you can do it. So that is something that we take pride of, that we don't let your hand go. We are supporting teachers, and we do it all day long, all year long. We get teachers to call in all the time about questions about, oh, where do you find this? So we search it for them, and we make sure that they get their answers. Yes. So when you get your trial, you have access to any of the activities and materials. You can project them, you can use them and assign them to your students. And then if you'd like to purchase a subscription, you can always, email me. Here is my email information. This is our information, EFL@ourstoryscape.com. But feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to explore it, enjoy it, and maybe get more inspiration. Maybe, create your own ideas, because that's one of the things that I love as a teacher. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I like this, but like, I would like to add that, and you can't do it on the book. But here, yes, any page, you can create your own game. Before I finish, I prepared a game, so I hope we can play it. I hope we can play it.
Of course, we have time, and we teachers like this.
Yes. Oh my goodness. OMG. Okay, give me 1 second. Let's see if it works.
No problem, Lorena. They're saying that it was very interesting, that it is very interesting. We teachers, we love stories. Children, adolescents, adults, we all love stories. We all love a good story, and we have these folk tales that we have grown with. And I think that we all wish we could have like more time for designing our materials. That's like my favorite part of teaching is designing materials, but time is so short that you can spend like hours and hours designing a template. And with this, you're saving lots of time, but you can also give that personal touch that you usually don't have. I'm like, you don't have time to add, or you don't have time to create. So I think this is a very good combination of what we can do, and also with a tool that already is pre-designed. Okay, let's go over the game, Lorena. What do we have to do?
Yes. Yes, with the same as here, like you can create it and then it's super fast, super efficient. I'm not sure if you've ever played Blooket. It's a very popular game in the US, but I'm going to show you. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to play cafe mode. Okay, so the idea is that we have to serve customers and we have to answer correctly in order to serve. Okay. And no, we don't want a tutorial. So we have to restock food for our customers. All right. So this person wants one. So I have to get their food. Okay. So first question. This helps to effectively get and hold students' attention. Memorable events. What is it? Any ideas? You can type your answer on the chat. Any ideas? Benefit of watching TV, storytelling. Let's see. Yellow. Yes. Excellent. Nice job. All right. So we got one sandwich for Mr. Owl. Yay. Excellent. So now we have another question. What type of learning can be observed in charades? Kinesthetic only, visual only, kinesthetic, auditory, visual, auditory, reading. Any answers? Green, very good. Very good. Let's see, what do we have? We have here, I'm gonna feed Mr. There you go. A comprehensive story-based curriculum includes what? Stories with no activities, long stories with some activities, stories, pre, post, reading integrated activities, cultural information, story-based projects, and more stories and activities. Answer, blue. Excellent. Nice job. Nice job. So we fed all the people that were hungry.
Well, great. Thank you very much, Lorena, for joining us. We are really happy that we had this opportunity to share with you. Our Storyscape is definitely a tool that we should all try. Let's do the trial and let's see what happens next. Thank you very much. Remember, everybody, that on the last Thursday every month, As a Copy has this amazing webinars. Remember also that you can go to our YouTube channel. This webinar will be in our YouTube channel tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. We're putting them there. And you can also see all the other webinars that we have for you. Remember that we're meeting in Medellin in October during that recess week. Let's make it very productive. Book your tickets, hotels. We have all the information in our webpage, all the allies that we have that are offering a lot of sales and discounts. Lorena, thank you very much. Very insightful. I think everybody enjoyed. It's a tool that we are all going to try. We have people in the chat saying, thank you so much. Very interesting, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure to be here, and I wish you the best for the events in Colombia. We're also going to be sponsoring that, but from here.
Great. So we are going to be hearing from you soon.